They need very special equipment. They need very special care. They need very special shoes. They need, so you can start a whole industry. So while I was coming here, I was thinking, what should we do to have this really decade of aging with health? What can be done? I was thinking of a big, huge area where we can have lots of people doing different things, and people, who live at home and their children or their sons, they just work and they have problems where to put the mother. The mother is 60, 65 years old. Where should she go? Who's going to take care? How can we hire people to take care of them? And some people can't even afford that. So we need to have a special care place where they can come and go. It's not like, a nursing home or something of that sort that we have in other countries. Luckily, we live in a society which is very caring, in the sense that the elders, the nannies and dadis, they are taken care at home. But in some places where there are lots of professionals in the house, you don't have that kind of facility. So we should have an Eve's paradise or Adam's paradise, where these people can go for 4 to 5 hours. And when they go, there is something or some kind of activities going on. There's a place where children, very bright children are sitting and listening to this elderly lady. She's telling stories, sharing her own experiences with them. Then we have another room where some kind of, activities going on, like some people are making items or some kind of projects and things like that. Some other area, they just can go, there's a seminar or a good discussion going on. Like, an area where is paradise, where, a lot of activities going on, and they can spend and choose for 3-4 hours, and then they can go back home. So I was discussing this with Ambreen, and, I have lots of ideas what can be done. Only thing is that we need to find out a place where we can have this Eve's and Adam's paradise, where these elderly people can be taken care in a very healthy way, and they can definitely age with health. So there are lots of ideas that we are going to discuss once our discussion opens. These were some of the things that I wanted to say. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Shahana. That's lovely. And that is what we are here for, to generate ideas and to share and see what is doable in the Pakistani context, especially. So we will definitely be coming back to you and engaging more with you. So now I would like to invite our next speaker, who is another supporter and internationally renowned motivational speaker, Professor Dr. Joanne Roll. Dr. Roll is a consultant for 30 years to the federal government, corporations, and various educational and non-profit organizations in the US and abroad. She has worked as a senior economist with the World Bank project in Tanzania. She was an admin fellow in the audit department at Harvard University and a manager of corporate executive training at IBM. She is an international motivational speaker on business leadership, entrepreneurship, community and economic development at the United Nations, in the US, Kenya, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. She was the keynote speaker at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, Future Leaders Economic Empowerment. Currently, she is the Dean School of Business at Medgar Evers College, the City University in New York. Dr. Ann, we are about to listen to you and see what new views and ideas you bring today. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. Can I share my screen? Can I share my screen?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So share screen. Host disable participant screen sharing. It doesn't look like I'm able to share my screen. Oh yes, got it. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so let's do this. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Okay. So I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I've put myself on a timer so I can make sure to start and end my remarks on time. I'm going to talk a little bit about bridges to aging well. I talked to you a little bit about some of the things that you were doing before. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk about an overview of the labor force. I'm an economist by training. And so the lens that I bring is the entry into the labor force as the youth and the exit out of the labor force as the older persons. And so I'll talk a little bit about the challenge in that. I'll summarize our forthcoming work, the future of work and entrepreneurship for the underserved. I'll give you one example of technology and social innovation in South America, which was a multi-year experiment. It is the lead chapter in the new book, the forthcoming book that we will be delivering or will be published in May of this year. And then I'll talk a little bit about the road ahead. So the challenge is how to support the new generation of workers in Pakistan, who are 60% of the populations with skills and tools to engage in a dynamic and innovation-driven economy, while in parallel, how to integrate the experience of the older persons. And we just heard of the rich experiences that especially the academicians and those who are in corporate can have to mentor and support and to help those that are coming behind them. Older persons are living longer around the world because of our technology and the health innovations, and many have the ability to contribute, but some are feeling like there may not be a place for them because the places are being made for the youth and they are being moved out. So the gap in the literature that we found that we were working to, and it was actually 14 authors from about 8 different countries, is the future of work and entrepreneurship for the underserved. We present a global snapshot regarding the future of work and entrepreneurship for the underserved and various perspectives from different authors' viewpoint. And that was important to us, not just one viewpoint. So the key goals of the book that we are working on is what are the key themes and discourse on the future of work, how people enter, how people exit the labor market, the job market, and what do they do when they retire? You heard the previous speaker say that, you know, they are still contributing, but many older persons feel like they are left out because everything they did during their work life has come to an end, their networks has come to an end, and they feel like they've lost a part of themselves. How is technology and innovation transforming the future of work and entrepreneurs for the underserved communities, and what recommendations, and this is key, not to just talk, but how are we going to shift and change and transform the academy, practitioners, and policymakers who all must work together for the changes to come. So the example that I'm going to share with you for a brief moment is the lead chapter in the book. And the reason I love it so much is because it talked about not the researchers just observing what was happening in the local economy, but how they observed, shifted, and helped change based on what the folks in those neighborhoods wanted. And so they observed and saw, and in South America, the economies that they were looking at were the drug economies. And what was happening is there was lots of money in the economy, but the men were dying young because they because of that, the culture in that economy. And it was the women that said, we don't care as much about the high incomes. We want our men around to help raise our children and to be grandfathers and to help work with them. And so the researchers and the community worked together, and they came up with how they take and shift them into the needs of the community. And you heard about making crafts. Some of the older women were making crafts, and some of the younger women were figuring out how to sell them in the marketplace. Education and training, the community working together to decide what education and what training and what employment they need. They literally saw the changing of the mindsets from the youth to the older persons and engaging in a sustainable community. And that's why I like it, because it wasn't just research-based, it it was experimental and it worked. So the road ahead, we propose that engagement in community from the youth to older persons is vital to create shared prosperity. We will share in the forthcoming handbook perspectives on how the future of work and entrepreneurship will evolve, not back to normal, because in normal, most of the countries that we are looking at, normal was not good for the average person. Normal was not good for the underserved. So we want a better normal in our post-COVID reality. We hope that our analysis will create further dialogue in the academy, industry, and policy on how to ensure that all are included in the future. Thank you.
Thank you
That's
very much. That was lovely and very timely. Thank you. And yes, we will be definitely looking forward to this initiative that is already there and learn more from this development of slum activities in slum area and making them into successful neighborhoods. So now we come to Professor Dr. Deanne Davis, our next panelist, who is the founding president, International Council for Caring Communities. This was the very first time that I came to know about this council. And when I looked into it, they are doing wonderful work, not only at the grassroots level, but they are also engaging the students across countries. And we all must look into the work that is being done by this International Council for Caring Communities. She is an international public speaker and consultant. Professor Davis specializes in integrated products and services for the hospitality, healthcare, and educational industries. Currently, her work focuses on the impact of the longevity factor on society, mainstreaming aging issues, especially within the areas of the built environment, health, and information and communication technologies. She has developed unique cross-sectoral dialogues for local authorities and international decision makers held at the United Nations, Windsor Castle, United Kingdom, and other international venues. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Davis, please. Joanne, I think you will have to, connect us to Davis because she is unable to, her audio is not working properly. So if you can assist us in running her PowerPoint and, we can't hear you, Joe. Please unmute your mic.
I'm sorry. I have her on the screen. I have her on the phone, and I'm going to share my screen again.
Okay, please.
Speaking from New York, I want to congratulate the foundation on addressing these topics, and I apologize for the technology issue at this end, and thank Dean Rowe for assisting in it. You can move to the next.
I'm at the next slide.
As you can see, the ICCC serves people around the world, and the description is as posted. Please, let's move on.
I moved to the next slide.
We wanted to address another aspect of the pleasures for older people who are sometimes forgotten, and that is use the cultural institutions in your cities and giving the older person a chance to come out of home, and they're usually left behind or difficulty of not using the city. So cities have more to offer. They can provide people, especially with dementia, a cultural life worth living. And let's look at some of the new aspects of cultural cities. Can we move forward, please?
Yes.
All right. If you look at museums, theaters, movies, bookstores, cultural centers, shopping centers, and what the previous speaker had mentioned, centers, we call them happiness centers. And one of the aspects that Dean Rowe talked about, which was people that retire get lost. So I think that we may take the example of the Japanese, and that is the Silver Retirement Resource Network, which everyone who retires becomes automatically part, and they can use consultancies, or they can work with each other, and time sharing as a source of economics. We can move on, please.
Yes, move.
Sorry. Looking at the culturalness of the new technologies, that people that are impaired by sight can feel artwork in museums, and